Welcome to the Haney Biz Project with Mark Haney. Mark is a serial investorpreneur and the chief dreaming officer of the Haney Biz Companies. He's working tirelessly to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution and share the inspiring stories of the region's most influential leaders. And now, here's Mark Haney.
All right. This is the Haney Biz Project, and we are on a mission to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution right here in our hometown of Sacramento. We do that one entrepreneur at a time, one conversation at a time. And that conversation, Marcus, it begins with one simple question. Are you hanging or are you banging today?
I am out here banging. You know how I do it here in 2017, about to wrap up.
When we are banging, we are at our very best opportunity. And obviously this time of year, right, it's that end of the year, last few days of the year. And a lot of times people are sort of in relaxed mode around our offices, right? It's that time when you're doing that last minute shopping. It's that time where you're taking the 2 and the 3 hour lunches because that's the end of the year. But you're banging your best.
Well, yeah, I got to get ready for 2018. I think it's going to be my best year yet. How about you?
Okay. Let's not get on this yet. 2017. How does that stack up for Marcus Haney? What kind of year was it? Big change, little change?
Well, both actually. I bought a new truck, which was great. But in my business wise, Haney Industrial Supply really got myself ramped up and ready to take on a new sector of the world. I have an e-commerce business, which is fully integrated and automated. So really excited to see what that brings for 2018.
Yeah, well, a lot of us, these incremental changes can be so helpful, but there are some companies, some individuals that really in 2017 came at it in a game-changing kind of way, right? Really with some innovation, thinking way outside the box and creating things that are completely new. But not everybody's built that way, Marcus. Not everybody's built to be doing those game-changing type innovations. What do you think goes into people who think how they might change the world in some big fashion?
Well, I think it starts with understanding the industry that you're in and what it needs in order to increase its profitability or excitement in the world. And I think if you look back at that of how people might be operating now and how you could integrate yourself into that position to be a real game changer.
Yeah, it seems to me that some of the most innovative opportunities come from things that are not profitable, right? They don't start off profitable. They're so outside the box that you have to kind of do things that maybe the market is small right now for it, but you have to start there, might not even be profitable. And that's why I think the small business community is kind of uniquely positioned to chase these crazy ideas. And sometimes the larger organizations, they have a hard time creating these game changers because the opportunities aren't big enough yet. However, today, we're bringing on some guys that are doing some game-changing stuff right here in Sacramento. And these are not the smallest organizations in the world. They're pretty big. They're pretty influential people. L H Airco. We're going to have Frank Wegener coming up a little bit later in the show. He's got an extremely innovative approach to the HVAC industry. But I don't think that there's a company more respected and more innovative for its size than SMUD. We have Arlen Orchard coming up a little bit later in the show to talk about what SMUD is doing in innovation, right? You think about electricity. That was invented a long time ago, but gosh, they're doing some innovative things over there at SMUD.
Yeah, look how our world is changing as far as the electricity and solar and all those things come about. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say, of how they're pivoting in that respect as well.
Yes, so coming up, we're going to hear those two. We'll have some of my thoughts for the highlights of 2017. We'll talk about the future 2018, what kind of incremental changes we intend to make as a team. And who knows, we may come up with something kind of innovative along the way. And I do have I will close the show today with a story of a man that we know who made a change to professional sports that was quite innovative, and we'll share his story when we come back. But after the break, we're going to meet Arlen Orchard. Marcus, we're going to have him come in. He's the CEO of SMUD. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, brought to you courtesy of 5 Star Bank. This is the Haney Biz Project. Right, beautiful.
Now, back to the Haney Biz Project with host Mark Haney.
All right. Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Sun System Technology. I'm Mark Haney, and today, I've been waiting for this day for like 2.5 years. We have Arlen Orchard, the CEO of SMUD, in the house. How you doing, Arlen?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me
Thank
today.
you for coming in. You're one of the most influential people in Sacramento, and we have you here today. But as we were talking before the break, there's something pretty important or extremely important that recently happened with your family. You became a grandfather. What's that like?
You know, it's much better than having a kid. There's only one reason to have a kid, and that's to have a grandchild.
Oh, that's so cool. And your grandson lives here locally, so you get to hold on to him. And he's 6 weeks old. Very cool. But Sacramento Municipal Utilities District is such a huge responsibility. Give us an overview of how you look at SMUD.
So, you know, SMUD is big. We've got 2,200 employees, a $1.7 billion a year budget. We're 70 years old now, which is a big deal for us, quite frankly. We just
You're not that
celebrated
old.
No, but I'm getting damn close. No. I'm on my way there. But, you know, we're community owned. So for me, the big question I always pose to the organization is how are we going to demonstrate value to our customers in our community today? And that's what we work on every day. From our call center reps all the way through our guys on the line, all the way to our folks who are coming up with the new sexy products that we're selling.
Yeah, and we're talking at the beginning of the show about innovation, and sometimes these incremental changes are so helpful in driving the success of a business. But I mean, at a place like SMUD, there's game-changing type of technology that is happening that you've got to try to stay out in front of. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. The utility world is changing really, really rapidly. I joke with my employees, we're moving away from a company that sold electricity to becoming a technology company that also happens to provide people with electricity. And it's very true. Our investments in technology, in new cutting edge things like solar and storage is becoming a major part of our budget and a major part of what we offer our customers.
Okay.
So it's a big part of it. We're even in the e-commerce business now.
Yeah, now describe what that is, because most of us think about you turn on your light and you get a SMUD bill, right? But what you talked about solar. What kind of solar business do you have?
So we looked at actually, should we do rooftop solar? A lot of people are interested in that. We looked at our cost structure and said, no, we can't do that. It doesn't make sense. But what we did look at is we know our businesses want to be more sustainable. We have a big part of our business that customers that's important to them. So we said, well, what can we do to offer them an alternative? And so we said, well, we can build a large scale solar field and provide them a portion of it at a fixed cost over 20 years. So we rolled that out. Our first customer was the Kings.
Wow.
So we provide 95% of the energy to them, which is all renewable. We have expanded that program now to more than 100 megawatts. By the end of the year, it'll be the largest program of its kind in the nation. So it's just one example of how we're taking a technology that's cutting edge and looking at how do we apply it to the benefit of our customers.
And you think about that, obviously it's to the benefit of your customer, but in what way is it a benefit to SMUD? And I say that meaning you guys are in the business of manufacturing electricity. Now, when you have something that's more renewable, you don't need to make it, right? It's driving the price down and so on. What's that do to a business model?
So that is one of the reasons we're looking at these new things, because we've been big supporters of solar since it started, 20 some odd years ago. Actually, SMUD had the first solar facility in the country owned by a big utility. But when you think about every customer who puts solar on their rooftop, that's money out of our pocket. That's a reduction in our revenues over the course of the year. That's fine. That is customer's choice. But my job as the CEO is to figure out, how do I provide customers with an option that gives them the incentive to stay with SMUD? And so that community solar, our solar shares program is that. With our business customers, they're signing 20-year deals, which mean I've secured that customer and that customer relationship for the next 20 years.
True. Well, thinking about your customers, you guys were ranked, I think, number one by J.D. Powers in customer service and customer satisfaction. Excuse me. What goes into that? How did that happen?
So it's not an easy thing, because you
Okay.
really have to pay attention to your customers. You have to spend time understanding what do they need, what do they want, and what they value. and then you have to turn around and figure out how you do that in a cost-effective way. And so we use a lot of analytics around our customers. We buy third-party information so that we can better understand our customers. We're using really complicated market segmentation so we can start to target programs to specific customers instead of doing the old way of marketing, which was, you put it out on the news waves and, the airways and hope somebody grabs the offer. So we're trying to be very strategic and sophisticated in meeting the needs of our customers.
Besides customer satisfaction, how do you measure the success?
So we have a bunch of metrics that we look at. We're a metric-driven organization. We're a utility, not surprising. So customer satisfaction is a big part of it. We measure customer loyalty. We look at how competitive our rates are. That's a big, important part of what we do. Currently, our rates are about 30% lower than the surrounding utility.
Yes.
And when you think about that from an economic development standpoint, that means our business customers and our residential customers have more money in their pocket to spend either growing their business or spending money in the community.
Yeah, and those rates, I mean, I know as a business guy, I've got offices in Sacramento County, and yeah, the rates are cheaper, but I mean, does everybody around Sacramento know that? It seems like a huge recruiting tool for people that are in your district, especially coming from, say, Bay Area or something like that.
We actually use that. I'm on the board of the Greater Sacramento Area Economic Council, and we actually use that as a selling point for the Sacramento region as far as attracting new business here. On top of that, then we'll work with these new customers to provide additional rate discounts depending on the number of jobs they're bringing to the area. So.
And I know one of the things you do, a lot of this show is about entrepreneurship and free enterprise and taking a risk. But SMUD is very supportive in terms of helping drive innovation. Talk to us about the things that SMUD does for the entrepreneurial and the innovative community.
So innovation is a big part of our business. We think it's a big part of our future. So we're looking at a number of things we do. For example, we support the Hacker Lab.
Right.
We support IO Labs as an example to help find those new great ideas and help bring those to commercialization. We have a program where we look for, they don't have to be local, but many of them are, small local technology companies that have a solution that will either work for us or work for some of our customers. And then we partner with those folks to help test and develop that technology. And then if they're successful, we take a slice of their revenues going forward. So
Wow.
It's good for us and our customers, and they get a living lab and a lot of experts to help develop and commercialize
Almost like
their
a
product.
corporate VC type of fund where you're helping
It is a
the
little
next,
bit.
Yeah.
It is a little bit like that.
That's really cool. So thinking about culture, right? You talk about your team, and I know that team is a huge part of why you have the customer loyalty that you have. Talk to us about the culture of the SMUD team. How does it stay so innovative, and then what drives it to continue to not be run like a government agency, if you will?
Yeah, so we talk a lot about how do you create long-term sustainability, not only for the company from a financial standpoint, but also our obligation to create a sustainable community that we serve. So what's really interesting is we spend a lot of time talking to our employees about how important our customers in the community are, and our employees have completely embraced that. They give about $400,000 of their own money back to nonprofits every year.
Wow.
They did 15,000 hours of volunteer time last year. We have days where we go out and support nonprofits. That feeds into a culture that says we care. And when you do that, you inspire your employees to do more. And when you do that, they want to be innovative because they're always looking at what's the next thing that I can do to help our customers and help our community. So that kind of connection to the community actually inspires innovation in the company.
Without a doubt. It can be infectious, if you will.
Yeah.
If one of the teammates is going above and beyond, and they jump out there and do that as well. Thinking about the security as relates to electricity, right? It's so important that we protect our grid. You and I were in Washington, D.C. earlier this year, and as Sacramento sort of went to try to influence what was happening with the new administration. But I was around you and I was thinking about the enormous amount of responsibility that it is to manage the security for SMUD or for any municipality that's responsible for electricity and these things that we all take for granted. Talk to us a little bit, if you can, about the security that goes into protecting SMUD.
So the biggest threat, it's the threat that other big businesses face, is cybersecurity right now. We are hit with thousands of phishing attempts every day. We have a 24/7 cybersecurity team that works 24 hours a day. We have a cybersecurity control center now. We are subject to the electricity industry is the only industry in the country that is subject to mandatory cyber standards promulgated by the federal government. If we fail to do that, it's $1 million a day fine. So we take it obviously very seriously. That is one of those things that keeps me awake, is that concern about cybersecurity. It's not just taking down the grid, which is bad enough, which is really the foundation of the economy. It also is, we have a lot of information about our customers and about our employees. True. And as a business, you spend a lot of time creating a strong reputation, and that can be gone in an instant if you have a breach that involves all of your customer information being out in the dark web.
Well, I know just getting into CU, you and I had a meeting a few months back, and I basically had to go through a full background check to get into your office.
I'm really sorry about the strip search.
Yeah, it was a little awkward. There's parts of it that you don't hate.
I know.
But thinking about, it's 2017, it's the end of the year. There's a lot of successes that happen at SMUD. Your rankings are off the charts high. But it's also the time for a lot of us that we do our planning for 2018. What's next year look like for Arlen Orchard and SMUD?
So next year is going to be as busy as this year, if not busier. We've got a lot of new innovative things that we're doing to create new revenue streams that come into the company to help ultimately help supply the funds for the technology and the infrastructure for our customers, rather than going out and raising our rates. So, for example, this last quarter, we rolled out our e-commerce platform, and we've done over $1 million in business in just 3 months.
What would somebody buy on the e-commerce class?
A Nest thermostat. LED lights. At some point, we hope to be able to sell electric vehicles on our website.
Wow,
so that we're going to roll that out and add more and more products and services next year. We just executed a agreement with Yolo County to provide what is called community choice aggregation services to them, and we're negotiating it with another community in the Bay Area to do that also. So we're actually moving out of the Sacramento region. We're activating a partnership that we signed last year with NEC, which is a big multinational Japanese company, and a Bay Area technology company called Spacetime Insight, to develop products and services for the Japanese market, which is their electricity market is deregulating. So a lot of interesting, exciting things that you wouldn't expect from your homegrown utility.
No, exciting stuff, innovative stuff in a larger organization. I think a lot of times in larger organizations like SMUD, it's hard to be as innovative, and often you got to. Some of these entrepreneurial companies are the ones that really do the game-changing stuff. But it sounds like you're definitely working on some really cool stuff that that'll allow you to change as Sacramento changes. So just in closing thoughts too about Sacramento and your longer term vision for SMUD and our longer term vision for Sacramento. What are your thoughts?
So I think Sacramento the Sacramento region is really, we've all been waiting for, when does that time come for Sacramento? And I really feel like this is Sacramento's day. This is the time for us to move forward. I think it started with hanging on to the Kings and getting the center up and going. I think there's a level of excitement in the community. There's a level of hope and confidence that we're becoming who we should be. I think Sacramento's the next great city in America. So
Sacramento is the next great city in America. I love that, and I want to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for what you do for our community through SMUD. Congratulations on being a grandfather.
Thank you.
And thanks for that. We finally got you on the show. Arlen Orchard, SMUD. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com. When we come back, we're going to have the president of L H Airco, Mr. Frank Wegener, will be joining us. This is the Haney Biz Project.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. That was great.
Welcome back to Mark Haney, igniting the entrepreneurial revolution with the Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Hub International. I'm Mark Haney, and today I have the privilege of introducing you to Frank Wegener, the CEO of L H Airco. How you doing, Frank?
We're doing fine today, Mark. Thank you.
I appreciate you hobbling across the street, up the stairs into Mark Tank, and I know you had to bring an assistant here just to get you in the door today. What happened?
Well, we had a accident with the right knee, of which I can't describe because it's a mystery to me too.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. But you brought one of your business partners along to chaperone. But for those of us who know you or don't know you, I should say, tell us who Frank Wegener is and what's L H Airco.
Well, Frank Wegener is an employee of L H Airco for 50 years.
Okay.
We're coming up on our 50th year in 2018
So I guess you would be the founder of L H.
I was one of the founders of L&H with four other partners. L&H stands for not Laurel and Hardy. It stands for two fellows' names who have since retired. So we've carried on the same tradition from the Bay Area up to Sacramento, because I think when we moved up to Sacramento in the early 80s, we were of the same thought that Sacramento will come to fruition one day.
Right.
And
It looks like it's starting to happen.
Yeah, about 30 years later, we made it.
Yes, yeah. Arlen said that it's Sacramento's time. What do you think?
I think it's more than you would ever anticipate. This next year will be a barn burner for our little company to a point where it's going to explode.
Wow. Well, tell us about that. You've been around 50 years. L&H is here in Rocklin, but you do business all over the state. Tell us about L&H.
L&H is we're mainly a control contractor. We do temperature controls, energy management for large state buildings. We did the central plant. We have 22 state buildings downtown Sacramento. We work with SMUD and DGS of the state to do automatic demand reduction. And that's why Jake is here. He was the engineer that designed all that.
Okay.
And we do a lot of work for all the school districts. This next year we have school districts throughout Northern California that will be using our technology for their energy management and ADR, which is automatic demand reduction.
Well, tell us what that is. That sounds a little bit technical for me. It sounds like some innovative stuff. Could you describe it?
Well, if SMUD sees that they are running low on their power generation or be able to bring power in, we had a couple of days here, it was 118 degrees. That sort of puts stresses on the utility.
Okay.
Basically, if they see that they're going to run short on power, they'll send a signal out to these buildings to reduce your load by increasing your temperature. You go from, say, 74 degrees to 78 degrees, and we have the technology that will immediately tell all the buildings, raise your set point temperatures up, say, 5 degrees, and save the power coming in. Well, that's anybody can do that. The thing is, okay, when the crisis is over, do you just go from 78 down to 74? And now all of a sudden, all the SMUD utilities are saying that's not good either.
Okay.
So basically, our group, run by Jake, who's here, came up with a algorithm to reduce this and turn it down independently of each other. So we just don't drop every building every time. And this was most innovative. In fact, as Lawrence Berkeley Labs has asked for our software how to do that. And this was generated right down the street here on Granite Drive at L&H Airco.
Amazing innovation stuff in things like air conditioning. What else are you doing at L&H that we would describe as innovative?
Well, we have the technology out of Australia called Climate Wizard, which is now being produced in the United States. We are the largest rep in the world for this technology, and they had to basically buy a factory in Colorado to supply our needs. We did the Sullivan Group in Roseville. They put in 44 systems. That's under Roseville Electric. We're doing a lot of other basically facilities in Northern California and Southern California. They're coming out with a residential unit, which will be able to cool a building without compressors, without refrigerants, about 93% less energy than any technology today.
Low energy plus good for the environment, it sounds like, which is, I guess,
Right.
that's important anyway.
Yeah, and the most exciting portion of what L&H is doing is our secure airline, which I'm one of the developers of. We spent 15 years developing technology in the air purification field, mostly for the medical field. because over 100,000 people die every year from hospital-acquired diseases called nosocomial infections. If the airline industry killed 100,000 people, they'd probably ground every airline,
Yeah.
right? Well, you can live without food for 3 weeks. You can live without water for 4 days. You can live without air for 3 minutes. So this is an air purification system that basically will take air, and we have it mostly for hospitals, that'll go out, seek a bug in the room, bring it to a filter, and inactivate or kill that. It's the only technology in the world that has inactive
So the
capabilities.
air conditioning system will actually have the ability to save lives by getting rid of these viruses that might be in the air.
Correct. We did a test at the Mayo Clinic of existing technology, which everybody employs today, which is HEPA filtration, which is actually technology from the 50s. So we put our technology into these operating rooms at the Mayo Clinic and ran them for 2 weeks on the test from two of the other buildings which we indexed, and we reduced the contamination level by 97% in an operating suite. Wow. This is just dramatic.
That's game changing.
This is game changing. We're coming out with a residential system, which will be out the mid next year, which you can put it in a room and turn the thing into a clean room in 20 minutes.
Wow.
Now, this is all done through measurement and verification. Because we say it so, between you and I, we have probably 5 million particles. We don't know what they are. Okay. But I've never seen the flu bug that invaded me, but its results are pretty dramatic.
Without a doubt.
Well, so if we measure and verify with particle monitors in a room, we can actually show you a 95% reduction in the particles in the room. And that's 100% of the time.
Wow, that's incredible stuff. Now, how long before this kind of product is on the market, or are we starting to see it installed now?
It's there today. We've tested it for a year. It's now commercially available. We're doing a couple of large jobs for the state of California. This comes under human capital, where everybody wants productivity, health, and happiness, and reduction in absenteeism. You know, if somebody sneezes, 12 people catch cold.
Huge, yes.
So what we do is we go out, we police up the contaminants, we bring it back to a filter, and we have the technology that will inactivate that pathogen basically within 3 hours and kill it.
You know, these products, they don't invent themselves. It makes me wonder, obviously you guys are a 50-year-old company, but you're driving this innovation. And this kind of sounds like a commercial for an infomercial for L&H, but really I'm just sort of amazed at what happens where you have this very established company ran by a guy who's been there 50 years, and yet you're still so innovative. What drives that culture?
Enthusiasm. The most contagious disease in the world is enthusiasm. And you see something broken, you fix it. As a retired firefighter, if there's something wrong in the fire ground, you fix it. It's not my job; it is your job. So when you get into the hospital environment and you see the diseases, the nosocomial infections, and this is a worldwide problem. We have about a 1.5% infection rate in our hospitals. Overseas, it's 40 to 50%. So this is a global result of our technology put together by 5 of us over 15 years. And it's been a labor of love. It's been very painful.
Well, nothing important comes easily in life, typically. And just some closing thoughts about Sacramento, the region, and maybe what we can all do. Besides bring the enthusiasm, what can we do in order to affect this positive change that you and Arlen are saying is upon us?
Well, let's take the schools. Okay, the schools have a ADA called average daily attendance, and the teachers want to teach the kids, but if the kids come down with the norovirus and they shut down schools, or one kid gets sick, I remember one kid would come home, they'd be sick for 3 days, I'd get over it 6 weeks later. Yeah. So, you know, the teachers get sick. My one daughter is a teacher, she teaches kindergarten, and the kids are always sick.
Right.
So we are going to put this air purification system in her classroom, and then we'll index what the average daily attendance if it goes up.
Wow.
Because the kids are there to learn, not to spread disease. So, you know, the hospitals are a floating sea of bacteria. We understand that. We understand particle physics, and we're trying to educate the industry, which is a little difficult because, you know, they're in their old ways. We've always done it this way. That's not the way it's going to get done in the future.
Yeah,
So,
one classroom at a time, one student at a time, making it a healthier, more great place to live right here in Sacramento. When we return, I will be joined back by Marcus Haney. We'll take a closer look back on what 2017 meant for Haney Biz and take a look at the exciting year that is to come. Join the revolution at haneybiz.com, courtesy of the Entrepreneurs Organization of Sacramento and law firm Greenberg Traurig. This is the Haney Biz Project.
And now back to the Haney Biz Project with investorpreneur Mark Haney.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of accounting firm Clifton Larson Allen. I'm Mark Haney. I am back here with Marcus Haney. We've been talking about innovation. We've been talking about it being the year end, right, Marcus? This 2017, it's been a great year. Have we made incremental improvements? Because none of us want to stay the same. Or have we made massive improvements? That is the question. And what's 2018 look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for this time. And I'm going to throw a couple questions at you here. You know, you always are preaching write down and revisit your goals. Do you have your goals written down for 2018?
Marcus, you know that I write down the goals, and I'm one of those guys that believes in incremental improvement. I think we all want to improve, and if we can chip away at that improvement, I mean, the odds of success are so much stronger. And so I'm one of those guys that probably doesn't swing for the fences in my goals. I just look for incremental year-over-year improvement. And I yes, I have my goals. They're sitting right here in my trusty pocket. I carry them around, but really they're nothing fancy, right? I want year-over-year improvement in my health, right? You know, I have my counterclockwise initiative.
So you've got these things written down on your business card inside your wallet?
I carry them inside the wallet, but the thing is, I keep them so simple. I write them down, but I don't have to look at them because they're basically tattooed to my soul, right?
Yeah, they're obviously always with you.
I will try to improve my health a little bit each year. I'm going counterclockwise, so I'm one of those guys that says, I'm going to continue to get younger every year. And I know that that's not possible, but if I could do that, then maybe I could sort of defy logic, right? Defy the odds a little bit. So that's my attempt. I also want to improve relationships year over year, right? There's people in my life that are extremely important to me. Of course, my family. Of course, my friends and my business partners and the people that are helping me in my world here and driving entrepreneurship. But I also want to improve my relationships with the people in the leadership community here in Sacramento. So I need to keep chipping away at those relationships.
Well,
and
it sounds like
them.
you're doing that quite a bit with the new your new position over there at the Entrepreneurs Organization, right?
Yeah, well, I'll just give you my third goal, and then I'll jump into that if you're going to try to embarrass me in front of everybody and on the radio. But I also try to improve my businesses, my financial goals, right? And I think all of us should think about our net worth and our sales, and did it go up over last year? And I think in this economy, there's almost no excuse for not at least a little bit of improvement, right? I mean, we should chip away at that, put a little bit more money aside in the bank, invest a little bit more for a rainy day. In this economy, we definitely need to be improving year over year from a financial standpoint. And so I make sure to commit to that every year, and I typically can achieve that, but as you know, it's not easy. Yeah, but you brought up the EO.
Was that on the goals, or
the financial improvement was brought up on the goals? But you brought up the fact that I recently was elected to become the president of the Entrepreneurs Organization of Sacramento. So yes, I am proud of that.
Was that on the goals, or did that just become something because of your hard work and your ability to help shape what entrepreneurism?
I think it's the right place at the right time. I am the most lucky guy in the world. We talked about this on the show last week. I'm not the smartest guy in the room in most situations, but in this entrepreneurial cause that I have, I've done something that I think is very, very smart, and that is Our moms always taught us, surround yourself with people who you want to be like, right? You end up becoming a lot more like the people who you spend the most time with. And I am spending tons of time with the most successful people in Sacramento. If that could rub off on me, that makes me the smartest guy in the world. Maybe they're one of the smartest guys in Sacramento on that one thing. Well, the people at the Entrepreneurs Organization, I've been a supporting member for a number of years, and they said, Mark, why don't you bring that? Bring your influence, bring your set of friends, if you will. Bring that to the club, and you know what? If you do that, we need to give you the title of president. So we want to give you the crown. So right now, Lance Loveday is the president of the Entrepreneurs Organization. He'll finish out his stint till June, and then in July I will take over. So this is the lame duck session right now for EO, where Lance is kind of like the acting president, and here I am talking about it on the radio.
Well, there you go. Lance Loveday, been on this show a couple times, and he is a phenomenal entrepreneur within himself. But as your son, that's really cool to watch that whole thing come to fruition. So really, really proud of you.
Well, I
Good
think
job.
the Entrepreneurs Organization does a lot for Sacramento. I mean, you think of it as a club I always think of it as like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Us entrepreneurs get together and we confess our sins, and somehow we feel better about it afterwards, and we go on to fight another day. And entrepreneurs need that. Entrepreneurs, typically we don't like to be alone. We may think that we do, we may say that we do, but in reality, we're so much more happy when we can be around our peers and we can confide in people who understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur.
No doubt. EO is such a great organization. So besides becoming the president-elect in 2000, what is you got another highlight for 2017? Obviously, we did some interesting stuff. We switched radio stations. We came to a new studio here at the Mark Tank.
Move to iHeart, the move to Talk 650, I think was enormous. 10 times the listenership. The iHeart app, obviously the best app in radio, but we also moved the show here to Mark Tank, here to my office in Rocklin, and I think we all know that I have this step minimization effort in my life, right? I'm trying to take less steps. While more people are saying, hey, I want to get my steps in, I have to take like 6 steps, and I can be over here to the studio, if you will, to Mark Tank, and we can do the show. Not only is that a time saver, I mean, there's no barriers. We're in a room, and I would invite everybody to come see me over here at Mark Tank in Rocklin, but we're in a room where there's no barriers, right? There's no desks in between us. We're in a living room setup, 6 steps from my desk, and we're able to talk to the most successful people in Sacramento right here from my office. And so that was huge, and I think this entire move to iHeart and Talk 650 has been game-changing. It's caused my LinkedIn to blow up. I now have 13,000 friends on LinkedIn, and the rest of the social media part of our operation is growing like crazy. And I think a lot of it has to do with that decision, that big, bold decision to leave my good friends at CBS and come on over here to Talk 650.
Awesome. I love it. Switching to a different topic here. What do you think the new tax product that the government just came out with is going to do for you personally and also for your business?
Tax reform is going to ignite the economy in a way like we can't imagine yet. For our businesses, we have like 15 businesses here. Each of them are profitable, and they'll each get a bump. But we're going to reinvest those tax dollars back into the team, back into innovation, into growing more business. So I think in some ways it's going to ignite growth for our businesses. And I think you'll see that same sort of spark happen for a number of businesses, not just the small entrepreneurial business like us, but I think we're going to see the tax rates being down at 21%. I think that's going to be huge for larger businesses as well, especially as they repatriate dollars here back in the U.S. It's like dumping a bunch of money right here into the people who are most likely to spend it well, right? The private sector, and it's going to be redeployed to do great things right here in America. So I think it's going to be great for big business. I think it's going to be great for small businesses, and I think that drives jobs.
And that's going to be great for Sacramento overall.
I think so, and I think Sacramento is in a unique position with some of the seeds that have been planted over the last 3, 4, 5 years, so that people are figuring out, where do I want to deploy my money? Where's the best place to grow a business? Sacramento is a great choice.
Absolutely. How about one piece of advice you would give for entrepreneurs starting out that are on their journey, trying to put that one foot in front of the other? You got a piece of advice?
Yeah,
for
I
them?
mean, I think the one thing that has probably helped me the most, and I keep realizing it. It seems like I realize it every 2 or 3 years as a business grows or as a life changes. I mean, we all want to I think in some ways become different people, right? None of us wants to be exactly the same 10 years from now or 20 years from now. We want to develop, we want to grow. And I think as we go through these incremental steps in our life in growing, sometimes we forget to be ourselves, or maybe we become sort of infatuated with what we might become, and fear can kind of set in. So as your business doubles in size or quadruples in size, so often that creates uncertainty. Am I the person to lead this? How do I best lead this? And I think the advice that I would give to anybody, whether you're at the beginning stages of your business or maybe you're at the later stages where you're really growing, is figure out a way to be yourself, right? We all have something great inside of us. None of us is great at everything, but recognize that we all have something great inside of us and focus on what makes us great, right? Just be you. My advice is look in the mirror, be okay with yourself, and just be you. Nobody expects anything else from you other than to bring out your own personal greatness. And sometimes I have trouble finding that in myself, but if I look hard enough, that's probably where I find the answers for success.
You are listening to the Haney Biz Project, and we will be back in just a moment.
Welcome back for Mark's takeaways from today's Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Silver's HR. I'm Mark Haney, and it's the last show of the year. We've been talking about 2017. We've talked about 2018, and if I gotta be honest with you, there's no more important word to describe my feeling today than gratitude, right? I am so appreciative of everybody who's helping to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution right here in my hometown of Sacramento. I mean, starting with the guests that have come on this show in this last year, Marcus, we have had the who's who of Sacramento have joined us on the Haney Biz Project. Would you not agree?
I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's been one of the greatest things in my life to be able to sit here and listen to these folks and really take what they have to say about their business, how they've grown, how they have adapted, and apply it to my own. So, really
without
happy.
a doubt, and I'm grateful to our sponsors that help make this show possible. Right, without these supporting business people and businesses that help other businesses, you know what? We would probably be out a few more bucks at our, but no, I mean, seriously, the entrepreneurs, the people who support entrepreneurship in Sacramento in terms of sponsorship, they put their money where their mouth is, right? They don't just say entrepreneurship is good. They help support things like the Haney Biz Project. So we definitely appreciate you. I definitely appreciate as well my business partners. And, we've had so many listeners over this last couple years come up and say, hey, Mark, could you help me with with my business? And, here's what I'm going through. And I have to thank the people here at Haney Biz. We started something this last year called Haney Biz Going Hands-On, right? Which means Mark Haney helping the entrepreneurial community. Not every business has a marketing department that has real experts in marketing. Most businesses don't have CPAs on staff. I've been fortunate enough to surround myself with some great people in the worlds of finance and in the worlds of sales and marketing. And Haney Biz Going Hands-On means I can help out a few more. And we've begun to help out some other small and medium-sized businesses. I think, we've talked about this a lot, is no entrepreneur can be successful on their own. And sometimes you just need a little guidance. Sometimes you need a sounding board. Sometimes you need some help. So I'm so appreciative of my team that's going in and supporting me on my entrepreneurial mission here, and really helping the entrepreneurs in Sacramento. But I'm also grateful to people that drive innovation. And my team here at Haney Biz that helps with the radio show, Marcus, you included,
Thanks.
helps drive an innovative, enthusiastic spirit that I think can be infectious. I mean, I think that's what we heard today from Frank, is that enthusiasm is sort of underrated at times, but this team that we have not only is enthusiastic, but they're innovative. And I want to share a quick story about an innovative guy that did something so innovative it changed the entire sports industry as we know it. I think we can remember back to the mid-'80s, right? And the Sacramento Kings getting recruited to come here from Kansas City, and the ownership group got together and figuring out, how they're going to be able to afford to launch this in a city like Sacramento. And one of the things that we need to do is come up with an arena, right? And so one of the ideas, because their backs were against the wall and they had to be scrappy in figuring out how they were going to do this, they decided to use the arena to help fund the cause, right? Hence creating the Arco Arena. And a lot of you don't know this, but the Arco Arena and the naming rights deal associated with the arena was revolutionary. It was innovative. Nobody had ever done that. Sure, names like Candlestick Park were good for the Giants, but when Arco became Arco Arena for the Kings, we began to see, obviously that was great for the Kings, game-changing for the Kings, game-changing for Sacramento, game-changing for Arco, and as people began to recognize what naming rights could do for driving economic growth, others began to copy, and now there is no more Candlestick Park. We have AT&T, right? We have Levi's. Yep. We have people who are paying billions and billions of dollars collectively to be a part of professional sports. And a lot of people don't know that started right here in Sacramento. And it began with a man who is sitting about 5 or 6 feet from me today. He's the guy that was the brainchild behind the Haney Biz Project radio show, an innovative way to bring entrepreneurship to the airwaves. And he's the guy that brought naming rights to professional sports. Mr. Greg Van Duzen, sitting 5 feet from me, is the man behind the concept, the innovative concept of naming rights for arenas. And it all began in Sacramento. It all began inside the innovative mind of a man who is sitting like 6 feet from me right now. So we talk about incremental changes and we talk about big time changes. And, I'm kind of a small time change guy, and you add them all up and maybe it accounts for something. And other guys are like Greg Van Duzen, and they figure out ways to think of things that nobody has ever thought of before. So just a little celebration to entrepreneurship and innovation and all the great things that are happening right here in our region. And it begins with the people, right? It begins with people like Arlen Orchard. It begins with people like Frank Wegener. It begins with people like you, Marcus, and it begins with people like Greg Van Duzen. So may we share a Sacramento salute to the leaders of hometown patriotism, everyone that has battled alongside us and driving this innovative cause that is the Haney Biz Project, and to all those fighting the good fight for our freedom, our security, and our way of life, to the 13 stripes and to the 50 stars, and to the one big American innovation always worth fighting for, yours. Never above you, never below you,
Always by your side.